Hello children, good morning. We are meeting again after a gap of 2 days, actually on Sunday and then on Monday. I was not able to prepare the video on Monday, but today I'm dealing with the same topic. As you all know that on the last turn I told you to go through with the questions which are given at the end of the lesson. A letter to God. I hope you might have done it in your fair copy. Please do it, all your written work in a fair copy. Make a fair copy for all this and try to complete the question answers, including oral comprehension checks also. Today's video, in today's video actually I wanted to deal with little bit activities which are given at the end of the lesson under section thinking about language. So as soon as we start talking about language, that means we are going to learn something about grammar. As you know that this is the textbook, and the textbook requires detailed study. I mean, it's not like supplementary where we just do non-detailed study. But that is the basic difference between both the books, textbook and supplementary. That for supplementary, we do only a non-detailed study. And I mean, we try to summarize the story over there and then try to answer the questions given at the end of the chapters in supplementary. But as far as textbooks are concerned, there you have to go in a detailed way. These books are meant, textbooks are meant for detailed study. So under this, we have to take up all the activities, even whatever given at the end of the lesson. So we have already finished the lesson, letter to God, and there I gave you some assignments also. And today, once again, I'm repeating that please do all the typical words first of all, and then attempt question and answers which are given at the end of the lesson. Under thinking about language, this also you have to do, and for this you have to prepare a separate copy named as copy for grammar activities, and there you can do it accordingly. So under lesson number 1, we have this first activity that is based on different names in different parts of the world for storms. Actually, we have gone through the story, and there we had the word, first we had hailstones, and later in the final part it was mentioned as hailstorm. So when stones are falling in form of hailstones now, that is considered as hailstorm. So like hailstones, we have been told that they are the small balls of ice, and they fall like rain. So a storm in which hailstones fall, that is known as hailstorm. When hailstones are falling, that means we are talking about hailstorm. Likewise, there are some other weather conditions, and where we have strong winds and rain and thunder and lightning also. So we have to understand, their particular name. So in order to understand that, one activity is given over here. We have been given a few words. If you look at the box, inside the box there you find gale, whirlwind, cyclone, hurricane, tornado and typhoon. If you remember recently in news, you might have heard one that storm was there somewhere in southern part of India. If you can remember the name, if you can recall the name, if you have gone through the news channels. Anyways, whatever given, that let's find it out. I'm doing 1 or 2 for you, and later you can do rest of the activities. Like the first one is given a violent tropical storm in which strong winds move in a circle. So we have been described a particular situation, and then you have to guess the name, and we have been given a clue also. Like this particular word needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters of English alphabet. And the third letter, that is C. So let's guess it out. If you count cyclone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we have 7 letters. And what do we need here? We need 6 more letters. C is given over there. And luckily the third letter is C in the given clue. So we can guess that this is for cyclone. So now what actually are we doing? We are trying to understand a particular word with this defined meaning. Suppose if somebody asks a violent tropical storm where we have strong winds moving in a circle, what is that? Then there you can reply that it's a cyclone. Likewise, another word, an extremely strong wind. And for this, we have been given 4, and this is based on 4 letters. And we have been given a clue, that is letter number 2. A is already given over there. So if you look in the box, there you find a word gale, G-A-L-E. That is also 4 letters. And the second letter is A over there, and in activity also we have been given the second letter as A. So we can go for gale. So now what do we understand? That gale means extremely strong wind, and extremely strong is known as, wind is known as gale. Likewise, we have whirlwind, hurricane, tornado, and typhoon. For this you have to do yourself, so please try to complete them in a separate grammar copy. Okay. Now let's do activity number 2. Here we have been informed about a particular word which acts as noun sometimes, which also acts as verb sometimes. So this is what that is given over there, 2 available sentences in the text. I mean, these activities are related to your text also. Keep it in mind. So number 1 is like here, I hope it passes quickly. If you elaborate this, I hope the hailstorm passes quickly. Now, just focus on the word hope, H-O-P-E. Then we have the second sentence, that is, there was a single hope, help from God. So, now try and understand. These are the 2 examples which are given based on H-O-P-E, hope. Now we have to consider that this particular word, hope, H-O-P-E, is working as a verb in the sentence, and it is also working as an object in a sentence, or say noun. So in the first example, which is written over here, I hope the hailstorm passes quickly. In this first example, hope is a verb. I hope. I is the subject and hope is the verb. So this word within single commas, hope works as verb, right? Which means you are trying to wish for something to happen. Means you are doing something. You know, verbs are known as action words. There we need something which is going to take place, which is going to happen. So these action words are known as verbs, and hope. In this particular first example, hope, with the word hope, we are wishing for something to happen. Now, in the second sentence, in the second example, this word hope, there was a single hope. Means there was a single something, something that was needed. Means now, what is that? Hope. So it's something like, So it works, it acts like a noun. So in the second example, we have the word hope, which works as noun. That means a chance for something to happen. So what we are trying to understand from this activity, that while reading, while going through the paragraphs, while going through lessons in textbook, you should try to keep in mind that you should keep on analyzing certain words and their actions. Like in the first example, we have I hope. So there, hope works as a verb, and in the second sentence, it works as a noun. For example, you can take, if I ask you, give me a glass of water. So here, water is a noun. I'm asking something from you. Give me a glass of water. So here, water is a noun. Now, if I say, water the plant. So what I'm asking you to do something. I want you to give water to the plants. So there, water becomes a noun, a verb actually. Give me a glass of water and water the plant. So same word, water, in both the sentences. In one sentence, it functions as a verb, and in the other sentence, it works as a noun. So likewise, you have to find out certain words which are available in the very first lesson, and there you can guess it out whether it functions as a noun or it functions as a verb, so that you can, differentiate between. Well, after this, we have an activity based on matching of two columns, A and B. In column A, we have certain sentence, and B, we have the meaning of hope or something. So that you should try to understand. Just guess it out. No need to do it in copy. Just try to go through this activity and try and understand. Well, after this, I would like to take up another topic which is given over here, and this is also available in the text from the very beginning of the lesson. The very first line that shows us this particular activity, and that is relative clause. Relative clauses we are going to take up. If you just go back to your lesson and see the very first line there, you find the very first sentence, the house. Then we have a porch, the only one in the entire valley. If I keep on saying the only one in the entire valley, what do you think? You are in need of something more. Some more information is needed for that. If I keep on saying the only one in the entire valley, you're not able to grasp it, or you're not able to understand what is the meaning of this sentence, because it doesn't give a meaning, specific meaning. So now, and if we added the house and sat on the crest of a low hill, and then a full stop, then we get the perfect meaning of this sentence. So this much of the same part of the sentence, the only one in the entire valley, is known as clause, and it depends upon rest of the clauses, and then it makes a sentence. So likewise, one activity is given over here, and it's very important, and I would like you people to find out more sentences from the text inside so that you can also understand the relative clauses in particular. Okay. Look at these sentences. All morning Lencho looked at the sky. If I say all morning Lencho looked at the sky, you're getting a clear meaning. No doubt about that. He just kept on looking at the sky, towards the sky. You're getting a meaning. But when I say who knew his fields intimately, who knew? I mean, you are in need of something more. So that something more is being fulfilled with the rest of the sentence, part of sentence. Like all morning Lencho looked at the sky. And then we get the clear meaning that who means Lencho. Who stands for Lencho. Then another sentence is given over here. The woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God willing. If I say the woman replied, yes, God willing, clear, meaning is there. But if I keep on saying who was preparing supper, who knew his fields intimately, the only house in the entire valley, so there you are not able to get a clear picture of that part. So try and understand who knew his fields intimately. The only one house, the only one in the entire valley, and then who was preparing supper. Likewise, we have so many examples of relative clauses inside the text. There you can find it out. And I must say, you should try to list out, certain clauses which are available in this text. And this is very important for you so that you can understand the clauses in particular. Well, in short, if somebody asks what is a clause, then you can say that it has a subject, it has a predicate, verb, everything. But then it does not give us a complete meaning because it entirely depends upon the rest part of the sentence. Only then we get a clear picture of the sentence. So this is what I want you people to understand. I mean, nowadays you can just go through with this lesson once more, and there you can identify such clauses in sentences which are available in this particular lesson. See, if an activity is given based on a particular topic, that means something is there available inside the text. So you should try to correlate with it so that you can better understand in a better way. Now, if I ask you, and if I tell you who knew his fields intimately, who was preparing supper, they give us information. I mean, they give us more information about Lencho, about the woman. Right? So, they are known as relative clause because they are trying to relate. And since they are clause, and they are trying to establish a relationship, and they are known as relative clauses. One important thing is there that they begin with a certain word in the very first word that you have to focus, that you have to keep in mind. Like in the first example, we have WHO. Again, we have WHO, who. This is, though they are known as pronouns actually, but at the same time, since they are trying to establish a relationship, so they are known as relative pronouns. So keeping in mind that a relative clause always begins with the relative pronoun. If I ask you to remember more, like we have which, we have that, right? So here in this case, you see they begin, these two examples, they begin with the relative pronoun WH, who. There are some more relative pronouns, like we have whom, we have whose, and we have which. These are also relative pronouns. The relative clause, like given example A and B, they are known as non-defining. We have further division of this. They are known as non-defining because we already know the identity of the person they describe. Lencho is a particular person and there is a particular woman he speaks to. We don't need the information in the relative clause to pick these people out from a larger set. So this is also being told as that relative clauses basically are known as non-defining relative clauses. Relative pronouns give non-defining relative clause. Relative pronouns produce non-defining relative clauses. A non-defining relative clause usually has a comma in front of it and a comma after it, in front of it and after it. Sometimes it is also shown as putting a dash instead of comma. As we can see in the entire story, wherever we have relative clauses, they have been shown with a dash. So if the relative clause comes at the end, we just put a full stop. And that is, they can come on both the sides. In the middle of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. And the way they have been shown in the lesson also. In short, what I want you people to understand, that you should try to understand what are relative pronouns. They are important actually. So if I ask what are relative pronouns, you can say who, which, that, which, whose, whom, so on and so forth. And another thing is that if a clause begins with these relative pronouns, or they are also known as relative clauses. Now one example, one activity is given over here, like I often go to Mumbai, full stop, and the Mumbai is the commercial capital of India, full stop. Then we have within bracket which. Now what we have to do, we have to join these two separate sentences with the help of a relative pronoun, that is given which. So let's do it. I often go to Mumbai. You can put a big dash. Which is the commercial capital of India. Likewise, you can do other sentences also. Like we have, my mother is going to host a TV show on cooking. She cooks very well. And within bracket, we have been given the pronoun who, that is relative pronoun. So my mother, who cooks very well, can put a dash. Then who cooks very well is going to host a TV show on cooking. Likewise, you can do other sentences in your fair copy. So this you have to do in your fair copy. This is very important activity. This is the beginning of the book. This is the beginning of the, grammar, you can say. So the very first instance, we are trying to learn relative pronouns. So try try to keep in mind that this is an important activity for you in class 10. Clauses are there in your syllabus, so try to understand the very first clause, that is relative clause. And try to keep in mind the relative pronoun specially. What you have to learn, that what is, if somebody asks, what is who, which, that, whose, whom, but at least you can reply that these are relative pronouns. And if they come in the beginning of a clause, then that clause will be known as a relative clause. And certain examples are given in your very first lesson, A Letter to God. So while attempting this activity, you just try to find out certain sentences having relative clauses inside, and they are available in the text. But this you have to understand in particular as far as class 10 grammar is concerned, because clauses are there. This way you can complete this activity, and finally we have some negatives for emphasis. Emphasis, to put stress on something. Like this year we will have no corn. What does it mean? That there will be, corn will be absent. Corn will not be available. Then we have another word like sentence like the hail has left nothing. So what do we understand when we say hail has left nothing? Means we are going to have a complete absence of corn. Likewise, some other sentences are also given over here, so you can go through with them. But in sometimes negative words are used just to emphasize an idea. Their role is nothing, but they come to emphasize. You can understand with this particular sentence, which is given in this activity number 4, page 10, you can see. Lencho had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. On the one hand, we are saying that he had done nothing. And on the other hand, we are saying that he just continued to see the sky towards the northeast. So when we say he had done nothing, and on the other hand when we say that he kept on looking at the sky towards the northeast, means we are trying to emphasize. We are trying to put stress what we want to deliver, what we want to say, what we want to convey. Means what? He had done only that. He had done only that work. When he kept on looking towards the sky, towards which were coming from northeast, that means he did only that. But at the same time, we are saying he had done nothing. So this kind of construction is meant for putting stress. We are trying to implement force, that he had done nothing but that. That means what? He had done only that. This is what it means. Then we had another sentence, and the man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. Went out for no other reason. Means what? He had gone out. And then at the same time he had got no reason. He had no reason to go out. But then he had gone out. So what is the meaning that we are trying to understand? That was the only reason that took him out, or that was the reason that he went out. So through negatives we are trying to put and emphasis or stress. Lenche showed not the slightest surprise. He did not show surprise. He was not at all surprised when he saw the money. So he was not at all surprised. Then we say Lenche showed not the slightest surprise. So what does it mean? That he was not surprised. He was not at all surprised to see the money. But then we are trying to say it in a negative way. We are using negatives in order to, force that thing, to put stress on it. So based on this activity, this notion, we have been given another activity. This you can also do in your fair copy. And then this is for the day, I think, and I hope I'll be doing the rest of the things tomorrow under the activity metaphors. So we will try to understand metaphors in the next video. Till then, I hope you will continue your written works also and prepare a copy for that and do it seriously. So with this, thank you very much. We will continue. Thank you.